Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Barnet Bound. This is going to be the review episode. Now, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the previous episode, go and watch it now before you watch the review section. It is important you do that so you know what kind of things are going to be discussed in this episode. You've got a few seconds now. Time's up. In this episode, as I said, we're going to be going through the review of the first season and what has happened so far for the club of Barnet FC. We have had an amazing first season, finishing in 6th place, but it ultimately ended in disappointment with a loss in the second leg of the semi-final against York. So join me over the next 10 to 15 minutes whilst we try and condense down our season into a brief video. Run the intro. So yes, this is the review episode of Barnet Bound. Now, as you'll be able to see, I have already made my feelings well clear on Tom Champion. For those of you who can't be bothered to go back and watch the last episode, he was sent off in the 10th minute and ultimately cost us a game. And I've said yes, I felt the contest was a close one up until that point. We didn't cope well after the dismissal. He has ultimately cost us a place in the playoff final, and the money that could have been come from that, the opportunity to get promoted, would have been phenomenal. So, how have things been going since that day? Well, we've only progressed one more day. The end of season awards has come in, and Fans Player of the Year is John Akinde. No surprise really, the man is a god, he's an absolute beast. He's just incredible. Mark Randall came second, very close actually, with Andy on the right hand side of midfield, coming in 3rd place. Tom Young has got goal of the season. We'll have to check that out in a second. Signing of the season was Cameron Park, and young player of the year was Andy at 24 years old. 24 years old is not a young player. We need to address that in the summer. So, 4-4-2 season review. Barnet have dismissed any inevitable strugglers at the start of the season, but caused an almighty upset by enjoying a fine season culminating in the qualification for the playoffs. Thank you 4-4-2. Match of the season was our 4-0 win against Dagenham and Redbridge, and our moment to forget was the 5-0 defeat to Oxford. We were shocking. A roundup of how we've been doing so far. We lost in the second round of the FA Cup in the replay. Really disappointed, but we battled really hard to get the replay. First round knockout against MK Dons, we were shocking. It was 8-0. I don't want to talk about it. So League 2, we finished in 6th. We did really well in our first season. Really well. As I said, finishing 6th, ultimately coming up short in the playoffs, but mitigating circumstances were around that. St Johnstone's Paid Trophy is probably the biggest one I'm disappointed other than the league, because we could have done with a little bit more money, but you know, it is what it is. Our average attendance of 2,700, 52% full. We need to start trying to drag in more crowds. Hopefully, if they've seen this season, they'll be quite happy to come back and tell their friends, you know. Tell your friends that Barnet are really good, because then they'll come back. So, you know, that's something to look at. We used 33 players last season, the joint highest in League 2. I've got to address that next year. I cannot be nice about it. I try to rotate people because, you know, try and keep everyone happy, but ultimately, I don't know, we finished 6th, so it possibly might have cost us, who knows, but, you know, it is what it is. The board are very happy with me, said we're very secure in our job. They're saying that Cameron Park's been the signing of the summer. Yeah, probably agree with that. He's been a very good player, actually. Haven't been overly impressed with him, but he's done alright. But they're saying our League 2 highlight, League 2 performance is an overall highlight on there. So we've got our scout is recommending players to us. We'll have a look at all of this stuff in a minute. I'll do all of this stuff. Now, in terms of the team then, let's go through each position and break it down for you. The goalkeeping position has been a problem area the entire year. Charlie Horton was brought in and has played since January onwards. Now, he's going to continue to be around the squad for next year. Jamie Stevens is not. I have not been impressed with him. He just doesn't get quick enough off his line. He cannot command his area, and he makes a lot of mistakes. His positional play is not great. So he's going to be going £700 a week off the wage budget. Joel Coleman, I am going to add onto the transfer list. Oh, he's already on there. Good. Because although I didn't play him because I wanted to progress Charlie Horton, I still think Coleman's got something to offer. So he's going to be, he's out of contract. So who knows? We'll try and draft him in. In terms of a defence, the 2 right backs, well, Harry Taylor's never really going to make it at the club, but I brought him in because of the issues with Ngala at the beginning of the season. I said I was never going to mention him again. Damn it. Harry Taylor has come in. He's done an okay job, but not really anything impressive. Gavin Hoyt, great going forward, awful defender. And I need to address that in the summer and get a decent right back in. In terms of a left back position, Elliot Johnson has been the main man this year. He's been absolute class, constant throughout the entire year. Sam Muggleton has been a very, very good backup option, and at the age of 20 years old has still got room to improve. But those 2 left back positions are pretty much sorted. Now, the central defenders. This is where things get interesting. Now, James Pearson hasn't progressed as much as I wanted him to, so that's an area we're going to try and identify in the summer. Dembele been easily the best player we've had in terms of a defender. We'll continue to play him, but again, if something better comes around, then I will think about it. Cisse has been in and out of the team because of international duty and injuries and blah 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 blah. I'm potentially going to be looking to sell him on. I know he's 22 years old and could potentially get better, but I just can't see it happening myself, so he's going to potentially be sold. Josh Hare again has come in, not really made a great impact, but he's a solid player and a nice backup to have, so I will be keeping him in and around in the squad. £250 a week. I can't really release him and get anyone better for the same value. Tom Champion's going. I cannot stand him. 3 red cards. Captain. He's meant to be my captain, and he puts in shifts like that. Pathetic. Sam Togwell's going to be going because he's on £1,000 a week. Unless he's prepared to take a massive pay cut, he will not be at Barnet next year. I cannot afford to be having someone like that. He's been injured a lot this season, so he will be going. Johnny Bird is going to stick around. 16-year-old. He's going to continue to be played. For him, actually, probably being in League 2 is going to do him the world of good in terms of his overall attributes. They can increase because he can be playing against an opposition which isn't as good as League 1, and he can progress himself as an individual. Corey Francis, I'm probably going to give him a new contract. His expires in the summer. I've been impressed with him when he has come in, but Mark Randall's been the main man, which is why Corey Francis hasn't been able to develop as quickly and as much as I would have liked. But Mark Randall is a great player for this league. He's signed a new contract. He's going to be here next year. Now, in terms of our attacking midfield options, Andy has had a really, really decent year. I'm potentially going to try and retrain him as a right back because he does offer quite a lot going forward, but I don't know. I'm still humming and hawing about that one, but he's got a new contract. He's going to be here for a while. Kieran Bywater is... I'm still gutted that he got injured for the players because he could have really made an impact for us. He is going to be in and around that first team on a regular basis next year. Cannot wait to see him progress. At 20 years old, he's going to be really good. Cameron Park has been brilliant this year. Really, really has. 4 goals and 7 assists, 9 assists overall. He's done really, really well. He's going to be in and around the first team. Luke Gambin is going to be sold. I haven't been impressed with him this year. He's been a good solid option, but I want to progress the club now, so don't really know what happened there. So Luke Gambin is going to go. Mason Clark is only 16 years old. Physically he's really, really good, but I'm going to try and loan him out next year. Charlie Sheen and also Ken Charles, the 2 youth players from our academy, are going to be in and around the first team a lot more next year. Now, in terms of the attackers, what we got? So, Sean Batts, Tom Youngs, and John Akinde are all staying at the club. That's an absolute no-brainer. 18 goals, 20 goals, 18 goals, all of them are staying. Those 3 can continue to play for me in this league and continue to score goals. No issue with that at all. John Akinde, Tom Youngs, are both the younger of the options. Sean Batt, he's still 29 years old, so he's still got a little bit about him. Michael Gash is going to be released, £1,200 a week. I cannot justify somebody like that being on that type of contract, so he's going to be going. Now, this guy has scored a lot of goals for the youth team. He's 18 years old and has scored a very impressive 30 goals in 39 games for the under-21. So, potentially him and Matthew Stevens are going to be competing for that 4th spot, but I mean, who knows? I quite like him. He's progressed quite nicely. You know, we'll see how things go. Now, in terms of the under-21s, there's not really an awful lot to update you on. Some of these players are out on loan or on loan for a reason. They're not good enough. There's a couple of people in here who are on, who are on pretty decent contracts, and we're potentially going to be letting them go. The one player I'm going to try and sell again. Do you remember Ben Tomlinson right at the beginning of the save? How I'm going to try and push him on again if I possibly can. Actually, let's have a look at him, see how he's done. Yeah, 5 goals in 5 goals in 35 appearances for Wrexham. He hasn't done amazingly well, so he's going to be sold. Matthew Stevens, how has he done? 4 goals in 13 appearances, 11 of those from the bench. He's done alright, but again, nothing to really write home about. So in terms of the finances of the club, well, we are within our wage budget, we're within the transfer budget, we don't spend a single penny, but yet the club is still hemorrhaging money. The reason being is that we're not bringing in enough money through gate receipts, really. We need to be bringing in more people to the club. We're only getting 2,500 people coming in, but we don't have a debt, we don't have any loans, so, from that side of things, we're in an okay position. In terms of the board and what they're expecting of us, well, we're not allowed to bring in any more coaching teams, so we're going to have to be, we're going to have to stick with what we've got. We've got a senior affiliate, which is Man City, so I'm going to try and raid that at the beginning of the season in June as much as I can, because there is a centre-back, as you well know from previous transfer episodes, that I really like. I want to bring him in. He will potentially be coming in, but we'll see. I really want to bring him in. I really like the look of the guy. But the board are happy. They're very, they're saying they're very, very secure. They're saying overall they're very, very pleased with the leadership of the team. They're happy with how things have gone in terms of the league campaign. And so they should be. We were predicted, where were we predicted to finish? We were predicted to finish 21st, and we've absolutely annihilated the competition and finished in the playoffs. So we have done fantastically well. So, what more can the board want? So we didn't spend a single penny, and probably is going to be the case next season as well. So that will wrap things up for the review episode. I always like the review episodes when FM content creators do them, because I think it just gives you a nice summary of what's actually gone on, and you get to find out a little bit about what's inside their mind as well. So I've given you a little bit of an insight as to who potentially is not going to be here and who is going to be here. The transfer special is going to be the next episode for season 2. A lot is going to happen at the club, and I can't wait to show you some of the players I have got in mind. We will find out who's going to be joining us in terms of either a combination of Wycombe, Bristol Rovers or York. 2 of those teams are going to have to stay down. League One, who is going to be joining us next year? So it's going to be Rochdale, Shrewsbury, Blackpool and Crewe. So not too dissimilar to what's going on in real life. A lot of those teams are around the bottom of the table other than Rochdale. But yeah, so those 4 teams are going to be joining us. In terms of who else is going to be joining us, let's go back down to the Vanarama National. The profile, let's have a look. Cheltenham and Grimsby are going to be joining us. 2 massive clubs to compete with again. This league gets tougher and tougher every year. Expectation for next year is to finish in the top 7 again. We've got to go for a playoff push. Defence is going to be the main thing we need to look at improving. Hopefully we can do that. As I said, top 7 is the goal. Thank you very much if you've taken the time to watch the episode. Please give it a comment what we should do for next year. Comment how you think the first season has gone as well. I'd be really interested to know how your thoughts on how well we've done. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, follow me on Twitter, all the normal sort of stuff. Thank you again for your continued support since we've come back onto the channel. In terms of having a couple of weeks break, you guys have been absolutely amazing. So until next time, as always on the channel, adios.